But let's just get into it if y'all don't mind, because I think there's a lot of critical lessons, and I'm gonna tell you the spirit that I came with. I wore my Fanon shirt, and I brought this particularly about, people are talking about the spirit of the age, and Fanon has that quote, like, we either, recognize and fulfill our mission, or we betray it, right? Each generation has to go through that, and so there's been, I think without question, a remarkable degree of organizing, labor organizing has happened the last 5 years, particularly since COVID. And some victories have been won, but do y'all go down individually? Do y'all feel the power has fully been amassed yet to get where you need to go? And I'm speaking this in context, y'all have won, but you still don't have a negotiated contract, right? And they're doing everything they can. I can, stuff that we don't even know, to break that down, given all the money and resources that they have. And we know organizing here has got its challenges. So can y'all speak to what y'all think, based on y'all experience post-COVID, with the strength that we got, where we at now? In our organizing efforts, to be clear. Don't all rush to it.
So for me personally, it's like we're right on the cusp of the greatness that we want to attain. It's like we right there about to snatch Prometheus' fire right out of his hand. It's on us really truly to be human. That's the key in this. Just be human. A lot of us have different walks of life, different cultural backgrounds, and all of those things are what make everything beautiful. Like, this city is so beautiful. Like the city I'm from New York. And it's based off of the cultures of all of the people. The diversity is what makes it. It's like a fruit salad. It's gorgeous, So when we latch onto that and use that as the catalyst against the people that want to keep us down and oppressed and keep us sectored off in our different types of, whether it be religion or the safe places that we like to just live in, where we can have our ideals and not focus on the ideals of others. We all have a voice, and the labor movement is strong. We fought the juggernaut and we won. We lost a couple times after that together, and those are just learning experiences. You learn so much more from those things, more than we learn from the fact that we can win. So with the help of everybody, it's this city with the people that's here and all of the struggles and fights that are going on here, you guys have that fire, and it's a beautiful thing to witness, and we all just need to live and believe in ourselves. Believe in yourself. Believe that the truth is the truth. Believe that if you have breath in your lungs, you still got fight in you. Never forget that it's always gonna be a fight. Never forget that part. That part is essential. It's not, the peace is gonna come after the fight, and it's gonna be a fight, because they don't wanna give up the power. Why would they? If they wanted to give it up, we would have it. It would be just that simple, but it's not. So we must fight for it and take it back.
I think while, of course, I have a lot of feelings and emotions around what we did with the ALU and the impact that had all around the world, I still think that there's a lot of work to be done. And, I think it's shown in the fact that, you can win a union and then what's next? And I think that's the big question that we're still trying to figure out. And I think that one thing I don't want people to take away from this film is that this is some sort of roadmap to unionizing Amazon. I actually don't think this is replicable again. I do think we can win again, but I think what that is going to require is we need everybody. We need experienced union organizers in this fight. We need everybody. We need the regular person who just wants to see change in their workplace. It's going to take everything that the people have to take on a corporation like Amazon. And and what's been amazing about this is that I feel like it kind of broke the glass on like what was seen as possible. And so I'm really proud of that. But I also don't want people to feel like, to see this and be like, yeah, this is how you do it. Like it's going to be a long fight ahead, and we need everyone. So I hope y'all are down to fight after watching this.
I feel like, yes, we do have the power. The people, the workers are the foundation of every company. So they can't fire all of us. So we always have the power to take the company by hand if we need to. I already forgot my most. I'm sorry.
In terms of organizing here right now, with the changing political kind of climate, do you find it's a little bit harder or it's a little bit easier? Because the cat who's well, y'all, we all live here, so we know what's coming down the pipeline here. I mean, there's for y'all who might not live here or live in the South, the cat who's the governor now is just a straight up fascist.
Yeah.
And he's made it very clear about how he's trying to just take back all the lies and just all the laws and eliminate everything. And so I'm wondering, it's a question to you and a question in the organizing work, the campaign work you're doing, is that sharpening things up to make folks want to fight more, or people feeling a little bit uneasy right now?
I feel like when it comes to regular people, like we live paycheck to paycheck. You don't really want to anything to come between that, right? So when it comes to organizing, we have all this like the companies retaliation against you. Like you don't want to lose that paycheck. You don't want to lose the little money you have to support your kids, to support your lifestyle. So I feel like it is making it harder because a lot of people don't want to fight that fight. They'll probably leave the other people or like, yeah.
I got my own thoughts on that, but just in the interest of time, I do want to take some questions from y'all in the audience, and if I can steer the questions, it would be about how do we build enough solidarity so that we overcome this type of isolation that people feel, in their day-to-day work, right? And so how the community work with the trade unions in particular to strengthen each other. I mean, that's a particular question, but I'm gonna leave it open to folks out in the audience who might have a question.
What do you think are some of the lessons that you took away from the fight with the ALU that you think are transferable to other labor union fights or labor fights?
Can you repeat your question?
What do you think are some of the lessons that came out of the ALU victory that can be transferable to other fights, other labor fights?
I feel like for me, a lot of it was about willingness to try. And especially with like the scrappy team that we had, I think like no one really took us seriously, which I think is like turned out to be in our advantage. But I think that for a long time, a lot of trade unions weren't willing to take the risks, weren't willing to put in all these resources to organizing these giant facilities that like 8,000 people is kind of an incomprehensible amount of people to organize, and like we're still like grappling with the numbers. And I think that just that you can win, and I think what this says, I hope it says, is that willingness to try is like half the fight, and dedication and persevering when things are hard or when you disagree with each other. That's like the hardest stuff, right? Like when you feel like you're fighting the people that you're fighting with, that's the hardest part, but to keep on going anyways.
Yeah, I think the thing about that is like union is united, like, right? So being united and being there for your brothers, your sisters, you know, and never wavering from the fact that the job and the work that needs to be done is more important than the individuals doing it. We must keep that always ever present and in the forefront because we're humans, you know, right? So we all have egos, all different types of emotions go on with us. So if we're not careful, we can fall victim to those things. And it's pertinent that you trust the people that you have next to you on a regular basis, cultivate relationships that are healthy, live in a space where you are able to object and not feel objectified, not feel like you're being threatened just because we don't agree today or agree on this doesn't mean that we disagree about everything. You know, these are just base things that sometimes as humans and as adults we forget, you know, and just being in that space and allowing yourself to be free in the mind, free from letting your emotions rule you and let your emotions help guide you, you know? This was a unique experience like nothing I've ever been on in my life. And I've been afraid so many days, you know? But you can only be brave when there's danger or when there's fear involved, right? So everybody wants to be brave. I had the opportunity to be brave, and you can choose your pain in life, right? You can choose the pain from not doing things, or you can choose the pain that you get from doing things. I choose my pain. I won't have the other pain, because I've dealt with that. We live with it every day, whether we choose to believe it or not. If we don't speak up about the injustices that we see happening, if we don't watch out for our neighbors that suffer because we're not suffering at the time, it's so important that we just love on each other. Love on each other. Because the people that have the power don't love on us at all. At all.
The person. Can you project just a little bit? I don't know if we get a.
Oh, hey, this is a question for the two Amazon organizers. So here locally, nurses at UMC just won a union in December. Questions for us, I can't imagine having done it without the in and you, like their direction in terms of strategy and also navigating the legal process with the NLRB. So like, I'm just wondering, like, y'all having done it from scratch, were you in conversation with other union organizers, or did you have other legal people you were talking to? Like, how did you figure this out? I feel you must have been in conversation with other people who had done it before, and the documentary doesn't really go into that.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the ways we got some of our like lawyers is Chris literally like tweeted like, hey, we need a lawyer, and and my good friend Seth Goldstein, you see him like very briefly. He's the one talking to Connor on the phone like right after the victory. He is actually the one that convinced me to join the ALU. So he joined first, but yeah, we like just kind of crowdsourced like resources in more ways than one. And in terms of help, like we definitely were in contact with other unions, and some of them definitely did lend some support, but I will say like it did feel like in a lot of ways we were on our own. And you know, I had some like union organizing experience, like a little bit, you know, as much experience as you can have, I guess. I guess I was 23 when I joined the ALU, and so we kind of just like scrapped together everyone's like experiences and knowledge, and we figured it out. And we definitely had some good advisors along the way, and I think like you know, after we won, a lot of unions came and like offered their support, and but of course, like, we need that. Like, it's, you know, it's okay, I think, that like they joined when they got on board when they saw what we could do. And I think it's really important that, you know, we continue to take that advice of experienced people, because even though we won this kind of without experienced guidance or resources from established unions, I think that winning the union, like the actual vote, is kind of the easy part, right? So definitely take the, you know, take everything everyone says, take it with a grain of salt, and like, you know, do your own thinking about what is strategic and what is the right thing to do, and talk to your coworkers about that too. And also, like, I think it's a good idea to take advice from experienced organizers, because they've been doing this a while, and victories and losses teach us like how to move forward.
Question here in the blue, and then after that in the green, and then the folks up top, and I think that'll be our time.
Thank you all for your works. Like, thank you. Can you talk about how you navigated race and like intergroup relations, and like having to translate across maybe some racial assumptions, or like how'd y'all deal with all that?
So
Can we include gender in there? Because that got mentioned several times in the film.
Yes, intergroup relations in general. Did y'all have like support in that, or did y'all have to figure it out together?
So that was solely like us, and that was a whole thing. So when we had disagreements sometimes, right, it got thrown around like maybe, oh, this person is a this, or this person is a that, where it's more or less, no, it's just cultural differences, right? And the way that I showed Mitch one time, I showed Mitch an excerpt of, I think it was Killer Mike and Charlemagne debating on 103, 105.1 on the morning show about education and teachers. And he got an opportunity to watch these brothers do what brothers do, and nah, it's not like that. You really telling me my mother was a teacher? And the boisterous talk, and seeing that, you know what, this was not an act of aggression. In fact, this is how they get along. They have utmost respect for each other, and this is not going any farther than it's going right now. And you know, if you don't come from a place where that happens, you'll look at that and be like, hold on, this is hostility. But it's not hostility. And so it took for us to live in those moments, have those moments together, recognize that, hold on, no, I don't want to make you feel isolated, right? And no, I don't necessarily know how to be different right now. Even if I can choose to be different, that's gonna be a process. But right now, this is how we communicate. And this is how I know how to communicate. And I'll be better with that, right? And we cried, we had yelling in the car and in different restaurants at times, and having to walk off from each other for a few minutes. But these are real things. These are real relationships. These are the things that happen in anything that you're passionate about. And these things must happen. It's like a builder destroyer. It's like a volcano erupting, and then years later, all of the fertile land that's down there and all of the things that get to grow because of this volcanic rock. It wouldn't have happened if this didn't happen. And so we have got to learn how to live in the fire. I'm glad you asked that question, because that's what I mean about being human. Because that's human. It's okay for us to disagree. It's okay for us to push each other. We need to keep the focus on being human, loving each other, and keeping the goal of getting us up out of this rut, because we're in a rut. There's none of our great-grandparents, our grandparents envisioned us having the struggles that we're having today as what it is. Some of them bought houses for $16,000, you know, so when we talk about not being able to afford rent, they thinking that, hold on, you made $20-something. I made $3 a day, and I was able, but the economy is different. When they worked you in the factory, you had one job. If you was the guy that put the tops on the bottles, you put the tops on all the bottles. Now, you put the tops on the bottles, you take the bottle, put it in the basket, you take that basket, put it in the rack. So you're getting worked way more in the hours that your grandparents and great-grandparents worked. You're getting worked twice as hard for like 3 times less as much money if you do the math to now. So they really don't understand sometimes, right? Like, bless that man Biden, but he's 80 years old. The world is different. We need more people like us talking for us. We can't let people that are generations past talk for us. With that said, there's some people here that we have to teach our grandparents and our parents how to use their email and their phone. Would you want that same person making decisions for you on a regular basis? And that's not to make you feel like, no, because this is a time when they made decisions for us. Cool. Now it's time for us to carry them. That's how this works for real, The older learn from the younger learn from the older. It's the middle part. We don't have all the answers. Neither way has all the answers. It's the middle. It's that sweet spot. We all know the sweet spot. Right there in the tip of the bat. It's the sweet spot. Home runs all the time if you get it right there.
And we go to here.
Hi, and thank you all so much for being here. And I just wanted to ask you in the middle, just to explain a bit more about your work and what you're doing now in New Orleans and how we can support students.
When you talk about support, then it's like, you have social media, any way to get like to newscasters or something like that, any way just to get the word out will be very great for our organization.
But what is the organization? What's the campaign?
The campaign, it's just workers fighting for workers' rights in dollar stores, like Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, Dollar General. Cause like I have so many stories about the just wrongdoings that happened in that store. Like last week, my coworker was like going up to his kid, right? He was stealing, right? So he was going up there just like, tell him to get out. Tell me why the kid pulled a knife on him. Like, why? They had another time, my other coworker, I wasn't there at the time. It was nighttime, this dude came in, put a gun to her head, told her, open the safe, or he would shoot her, right? Very traumatic for her, but the company didn't want to give her no time off. And also my friend who worked in the same organization as me, not at the moment, because he's going to college, but this guy stumbled in, right? Gunshots. Fell into his arms, because he's trying to figure out if it was okay or not. And he died in his arms. And he had to go and mop up the blood after that. And the company didn't want to give him no time off, nothing to do for his mental health. So, yeah. It took his grandma to come and actually get that for him, so he did get the help he needed. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you for asking that question. And you said folks can get in contact with you how? Again, you said email, but what's the email? What's the website? Or what's the information?
Step Up Louisiana. We are on Facebook and email, yeah.
There we go. Hand up right there.
So what would you say to a new worker like Katie who's organizing, right? And the turnover rate is so high, right? Just like I seen in the film where every 6 months they were like bringing in new folks. So it's a little bit different in the retail world when it comes to those who work in Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, or Dollar General, is because their wages is even lower down south than it is up here, right? So you're talking about wages that's $10. We're able to give $1.50 without even having a contractual language, right? Just having those conversations change and having those conversations with shareholders, having those conversations with city council people, having those conversations with customers. But what would you recommend, or what would you suggest to Kenny and the rest of the workers who are organizing for a year and a half now on what it looks like to stay committed and what it looks like to continue to push the workers to stay focused and stay in the fight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember if the film mentions this, but the turnover rate at Amazon is 150%. Okay, it does. I don't like watching myself on the screen. Yeah, so definitely the turnover rate is like a big struggle that we're constantly still trying to get through. I think, and the thing is, like, no one wants to stay at Amazon forever, right? But the real question is why not? And to actually think about, like, okay, in comparison, like UPS, as like similar company, they're kind of doing a similar job. You know, they start at like what, $23 now. You get a raise every year, and it caps out at like $49 an hour. That's a company, and you, of course, not to mention the pension and the benefits and the job security. That's a job that you can stay in for the rest of your life and continue to grow. And the truth is, this is more than just about Amazon, and that's what I tell people who are getting tired or like, you know, I didn't want to keep working at Amazon. You don't want to keep working at Amazon. None of our team wants to keep working at Amazon. So the moment where they're like, yeah, I think like I need to move on from something else, it's like, okay, but where else are you gonna go? You really want to jump from one shitty job to the next for the rest of your life? Like, that's what our options are right now. And the only way out of it is if we stay and we fight back. And if we can't fight back, if we can't ask for better from one of the richest companies in the world, then who can we ask for better from, right? And so in those moments where people are like, you know what, but I don't plan on staying here for very long anyways, like I don't really care about the union stuff. That's what I always, you know, in general say to people. And so, you know, Amazon sets the standards for everything, but it's not just Amazon, right? Like all these big companies are doing the same, you know, doing the same shit. So I think it's relevant to a lot of these different workplaces nowadays.
To add on, it's a constant struggle, and it's not something that's easy. So like the model of Amazon and a lot of these other corporations is to turn people out. They use us like cattle, like people pick corn or cotton. We're dispensable. And when you go to a job, like me for instance, I started at Amazon. It's supposed to have a high starting wage, and it's easy to move up, room for advancement, right? And then you get in there and you see people with different vests on, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go learn me something so I can have a different job in here. And then you go and learn that different job, and you still get paid the same money. You get more responsibility, and you still get the same money. You know what your reward for being a good worker is? More work. Like, it's not supposed to be like that. When did that become acceptable? You know, and it's at everybody's job. You know, I worked at Best Buy, and it was okay. I was asset protection. It was okay for us to stop people from stealing, but when I stopped somebody from beating up his girlfriend in there, I got fired. You know what I mean? It's easy. You can stop somebody from taking some iPads off there, but you know, if he was in here buying stuff or not buying stuff or perceived as a customer and he hitting on his lady, you can't do anything about that. You know, and these are the places that we work for. Like, listen to, like, this is a whole different company. Listen to what the things the brother just said about people actually dying in workers' arms and the company not giving them time off just to get their head together. You don't even got to give me no money. Just let me stay home and get my head together. Nah. You know, we can't work for people that treat us like that. That's unacceptable. You know, so with the turnover, that just goes to like the community. That's where the community organizing and grassroots organizing of the community happens, right? So when people are educated and they know what they're getting into, then it doesn't matter who comes in the door. They're already inoculated with the sauce. They already understand what's going on, you know? So when y'all community is smaller than ours, but it's large still, the city is huge. But if you were to speak to everybody that came in contact with you as an individual and allowed them to know that Dollar General, Dollar Tree, And I worked for that place too before, like with their minimum wages, living in New York. I had to travel 2 hours to get to the place, stay in the walk-in box all night, organize the whole thing to make sure that everything is properly with the proper sell-by date, so that when they putting it on the floor, people not getting spoiled food. Because when I was in there looking through the refrigerator, I saw spoiled food. So I said, let me go above and beyond and do the good job that they is paying me to do, what they're not paying me to do. And for what? It didn't make any difference. I didn't get any more money. The company washed me up. I got tired of making the commute, and that was it. You know, it takes 2.5 hours for me to get to Amazon. You think that's American? That's what hard work is. That's what hard work is. Hard work is going to work, traveling 5 hours a day to go to try to make money.
And not being compensated for it.
And frowned upon. I remember when COVID happened, we were essential workers. Essential. Like, just marinate on that word. Like, how could you ever tell somebody that's essential to your life that they don't need more money to live their life? For when we saw Angie's mom say to her, I'm a nurse and I only make this amount of money. You don't deserve that amount of money. When in reality, the paramedics deserve the money that the doctors get, because the doctors wouldn't have nobody to work on if the paramedics didn't get them in. Then they would be on the paramedics. When did we allow this to be acceptable? We gotta stop letting people allow other people to tell us what our value is.
One last question. I think I saw 2 hands over there. There we go.
Did you ever negotiate a contract with Amazon?
No. No. Amazon is yet to come to the table.
So what does that mean? Does that mean you all are in limbo for, like, limbo?
So the truth is, Amazon is never gonna come to the table unless we force them to, right? Like, it's not a legal battle. This is a battle of the workers, and the only thing that's going to get Amazon to the table is collective action, right? So I think that's kind of like, I think the big question that is the big question that I wish the film explored more, right? Is like the what's next part, because we want a union, but organizing 8,000 employees to be like strike ready, which is like really what it's going to take to get them to sit down, is really difficult. It is a big project for any big union in this country, let alone one that's just getting started. So I think that what it means is that we need all hands on deck, and that it's going to be a slow, long process, but obviously, like, it's still worth pursuing, and we can't expect Amazon to come to the table because the court says so. Even if they do, even if the court says so, they're going to stare at us blankly across the table, and they're going to say absolutely nothing. So it's going to take collective action. It's going to take learning from the losses. And I think that's what's really hard about all of this, is instead of pointing fingers, oh, you lost this, you lost that, this was your fault. Let's talk about how we can get 8,000 workers plus more to stand up and actually take action against their employers. So.
And if I can add, to box them out. And what I mean by that, I live part here and part in Jackson, Mississippi. And one of the main challenges that's coming our way in Jackson right now, they've been talking about building a fulfillment center in Jackson now since 2019, and they've delayed it. But there's a serious struggle that we have to do with our own city council, our own politician, own kind of allied forces who are looking to Amazon for jobs, as opposed to them coming and just stripping, getting them to understand that if they come here, they're going to strip our community, not add a benefit to it. And so there's a particular piece in our sense, organizing effort is to, we don't want Amazon here. We want a different model and a different orientation of development. One that's more community self-directed. It would take a little bit longer, maybe a lot longer, but it would be, employment that we can control, that's based upon dignity and the wages and the structures that we want to control. That's kind of our model in terms of building, cooperatives in the first place. But there has to be a linked strategy of, those who are in the plants that exist, and giving them all the solidarity and support that they need. But in those different communities where Amazon know that it can just kind of move from place to place, because they can come in and say, I'll give you, 10,000 jobs, which is a lie, but that's what they'll promise. I'll come in and give you 10,000 jobs. You just give us this tax return, or you give us this write-off, you give us this land for free. And many a politician would take that up and then make all these false promises to the community. So there's got to be this broad, community organizing component to what the trade unions and the worker centers and the cooperatives, we need to be working all together to best position the working class in its total and not see each other as different, fragments or fragmentations of what's really one struggle with just different dimensions. So anyway, I'm preaching. I promise I wasn't gonna do that. But I wanna thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here, for providing this example.
Thank you.
Those of us who are here, we got to definitely help out the Dollar Tree and the Dollar Store workers, so make sure you sign up for that. And again, thank y'all.
Can I just plug to stay tuned on what this guy is working on right here, to follow the LDJ5 Unite Instagram. I don't know.
Yeah, so we're still, we lost the vote, but we still in the building. And a lot of the people that voted no last time are down with our team. So we're drumming up to get this thing going still. So the fight continues, guys. The fight continues.